Hello, so I'm here with Tellafib Kwelie. Thank you for joining me. Your mic is off.
Oh, okay, here we go. Ryan Nazi lover. Oh, I mean Glover. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tellafib Kwelie. Thank you so much for joining me. You know,
Oh, of course, Nazi.
yes, I'm used to being called a Nazi by your brother as
Yeah.
well. You know,
But
you,
let's talk about one thing real quick. Let's real quick because my brother likes to bring it up, and I want to have his back. At all costs. Hence your Nazi, white sympathizing, shirt you're wearing there. Showing your allegiance to white supremacy, of course. Um,
this is a
I
yellow
always hear.
Tellafib
Yeah,
Kwelie. It's a yellow
yeah,
shirt. It's not a white shirt, and I don't think wearing a white shirt would make me a white supremacist or a Nazi.
it's
Regardless
white.
of what you and your
It's
brother may
white
think.
because when the Greens say that it's white, it's a white shirt you're wearing. It,
Um, I don't know how to argue that point. Talib Kweli, why do you and Talib Kweli feel the need to lie and label people white supremacists and Nazis?
well, it's not a lie because well, first of all, I'm going to bring up my brother had rest his soul, a very good friend Ryan Sean Price. Well, you know how my brother like identifies with Nazis so well because did their group not have the group he came from Helter Skelter, so therefore Helter Skelter was
Didn't,
a very popular
didn't
Charles
that group
Manson
break
thing.
up? And I feel like Sean Price was like a big proponent of the group breaking up. But besides that, didn't he arguably sell crack in his music? He promoted it that selling crack to the community was okay. And I feel like that as a black person who supports my community, I'm against someone who promotes selling crack. And that's what Sean Price did. That was a big part of his image.
Yeah, but how long have you been a Nazi for? Actually, that's what I want to
I
discuss.
I think that I would much rather discuss Sean Price being a Nazi if we're going to talk about my allegiance to Nazihood, because I think we have a lot of evidence. It was in fact that he was connected to a human trafficking organization. So I mean, I think when Lib Kweli
But I
makes
mean, do we know if these
lies,
were white people that he was trafficking? Do you know if this was, you know,
I
that's
don't know
okay.
I don't know the origins of the people that he was trafficking, but I don't agree that any race of people should be trafficked, white
Well,
or
I mean,
or Hispanic or otherwise.
there is no, as a black person, there is no racism. You know, Black people can't be racist.
Black people can certainly be racist. Telefib Kualai. I think anyone can
Oh, I
be.
mean, only if they're not green.
I've yet to meet any green people except on television or films. So, Telefib Kualai. What was it like, growing up in Brooklyn?
For me, I got to. Whoa, yeah, I'm struggling with that right now. I started getting the street back in me. Okay, enough about that. Um, well, I didn't know much of my family. I was adopted. Um, it was pretty much, poverty stricken. Um, I didn't get to grow up like my privileged other side of the family that didn't claim me. So,
Are you related to live on his a mother's side or his father's side, or you just adopted? Because you got
his his
a
his
striking
mother's side.
resemblance. His
Yeah,
mother's
his
side.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dr.
No, actually, same daddy, different mother.
Okay, so same dad. So your father was a doctor. What was it like, growing up with an esteemed scholar?
Um, I'm not sure. I mean, me and my brother share more being in common, not being scholars that think we are, and we rap. We're both failed rappers in a sense, but I look up to him more as if I can move on to become as nearly dope as a hype man as him, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an incredible hype man for De La Soul, unlike, Cypher Sinatra, who said he didn't enjoy him on the New York State of Mind tour.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's the sentiment of other people, but like, do you feel like the way he interacts with like, people on social media is losing them fans? If he calls all his fans Nazis and white supremacists, how long before he doesn't have any fans at all?
Um, I think fans are replaceable. He's doing just fine. Um, you know,
Right, because he has a bookstore, right? I know that has to be lucrative, despite the fact that he never read any books. He continues to like, sell books. I think that's
oh
wonderful.
yeah, and you can't forget about the Blue Note. I mean, I'm willing to send you some free tickets to the Blue Note if you'd like. You can see a lot of.
No, thank you. I don't think anybody like, wants to go to the Blue Note. I'm sure like, he like continues doing these big numbers on Polestar at these small venues, about like, 10 people.
Um, well, I don't know about that. I mean, that sounds like a very Nazi thing to say, wouldn't you say?
Maybe,
I
okay,
mean,
five.
uh, that's very. How long have you been a Nazi for again?
Talib
I
Kweli,
mean,
I'm not a Nazi at all. Like, I think like, there's a much more documented evidence of Talib Kweli, like, supporting Nazi type behavior. I think like, people should be allowed to express their opinions just because you're a Trump supporter, just because you have a different religious belief, or like,
I
you
disagree.
have
I
any other
disagree.
things doesn't make you a Nazi. So you believe that like, everybody should agree with you. And if they're not, they're a Nazi or white supremacist.
Exactly. Absolutely. That, I mean, what don't you see? Like what you're doing is completely, just anti, you know,
Despite the fact that I have only Black people on my page that I interview mostly. It's not like I'm interviewing like, your brother called me a safe space for white supremacists.
well,
And
well,
as far
well,
as
of
I
course.
know, I haven't interviewed any white supremacists.
Well, of course, you know, my, he doesn't want to give it a safe space, but like we got to have adventure in our life. Like I love social media, just like my brother and stuff. I like to create unsafe places for myself. You know, that's what my brother likes to do too. I mean, what's wrong with that? You're trying to control it. So that for see, is that not fascist? What you're trying to do is control a person to not be on social media and talk how they want to call you a Nazi if I
No
want to.
one, no
Call
one
you,
wants to control you or your brother. I think, we should be able to have like, legitimate conversations about how we think to like focus on coming up with solutions for the Black community. Isn't that like, a good idea? Like, regardless of your ideology, we can all get together and like come up with solutions.
yeah, but I don't agree
You
with
know,
your Nazi ideologies you keep bringing up. It's like everything you do seems to be like white sympathetic, and
white sympathetic, but like, I haven't even suggested anything like, as far as like as solutions. I'm just talking about between the conversations between us. Couldn't we have respectful conversations without the name calling and resorting to labeling people,
um,
especially people that you haven't met in real life, you've only met on the internet?
but I mean it's fun. I mean, have you not seen the newest interview that my brother did? Afion and Crockett. That's a person who truly cares about his well being and everything like that. You know, I I admire that right there because I wouldn't want the same thing happening to him. Like when Dave Chappelle got charged by that one guy. Because I pretty much see that as something you would do. You'd come up there and come after my bro.
No, I have no
Or
interest
do
in
you want do you
no
want to attack?
harm.
Do you want to attack my
uh,
brother?
I don't want to attack them. Like, I think like, that
Or you're really that
you
much of a
would,
Nazi? You're gonna attack
I
my brother?
I wouldn't attack him. I think he wouldn't have
I,
the
I,
same energy in person at all. I think like, he
you just
hides
said attack
behind
and my brother and stuff. So therefore, that you're pretty much saying that you want to attack my brother. That's what you're saying.
I don't
Uh,
want to attack
that
Talib
that's
Kweli.
very Nazi of you to say.
I think he's a great hip hop artist. I just think like, he could be a little bit more respectful with people on the internet and learn like, how to interact better with his fans. Specifically, I think like, what
Yeah.
he's doing.
Therefore, you're trying to control and
No,
filter his
I
way of
don't.
talking.
I don't like, I don't want to control him. I think like, it's a little disheartening when he labels me a white supremacist or a Nazi, and I
Well,
do
I mean, because you
to
are. I
help
mean,
the Black community. No,
I mean,
no, I disagree. Like, what's next? Like, for you as far as music, do you ever write like for your brother? Like give him ideas. Like, is there any inspiration?
I have not ghostwritten because I'm not a Nazi. I don't. I don't write for other people because that's controlling a person's narrative. So I mean, no, my brother is free to do what he wants to do because he's not a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I write for myself. I'm this interview we're having. I'm this is off, right off the rip.
Well, I've heard he's had ghostwriters before.
Well, then they were, it's probably like Nazis telling you that.
Okay. What about the numerous sexual assault allegations against him? Were you there in those
Again, how long
situations?
have you been a Nazi for?
Why do I have to be a Nazi? I'm just asking, like, simple
I
questions.
mean, I know where you're trying to go with this, and that's Lauren hilarious here.
I mean, like, and stuff. Some of these are really documented. Like, Rez.
I mean, are we really going to talk Peganomics here?
What about like, the allegations of sexual assault? Like, there's numerous women, like, allegedly, like, who had like, I think Tumex said, like, a lot of women were hitting them up in the DMs saying they had sexually assaulted them.
I think there's a bunch of Nazis there that are just coming forward and, like you're doing, you bring a congregation of these Nazis and stuff, and then get mad when you can't
What
control
about
them.
the woman, Amara Romani, who I interviewed, and she actually said she pegged him, and there was another woman and stuff that I was saying like he wanted 3 fingers in his butt. You don't think those are like, relevant, like, to the character of your brother?
Next week, I think my brother was telling me something about going as hype man for diggable planets. I think you're just trying to peg him in the wrong way. Just like a very Nazi thing to do.
I'm not trying to peg him at all. Like, I mean, as much as he might enjoy that, I think like, Talib Kweli, like, is a really great artist. There's a lot of songs and stuff that I've enjoyed over the years. He has 17 albums. There's probably like 3 songs at least that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, it's pure Peganomics, it's quality. Everything come out with. Yeah, my brother, he's a genius. He's not a Nazi like yourself.
But why does he have so many disputes with people? Like it seems like there's
because they disagree.
I'm not the only person he's arguing with on the internet. There's a number.
Oh no, he knows how to smell a Nazi from a mile away.
I'm surprised that there's so many Nazis and all of these people who just happen to be black.
It's
what's the chances of like everyone being black and being on the same team as like Larry Elder or Candace Owens or all these like far right.
Are you trying to call my brother the male Candace Owens? I mean, because that's also another Nazi thing to say. Because then also, are you part of Alien Gang too?
I mean that's very similar to Candace Owens, especially when you consider his connection to the Murdochs. Wasn't Raucous like started by like the son of Rupert Murdoch, who owns Fox News? I wouldn't be surprised to see Talib Kweli as a host of Fox News in the future.
I mean, you're not trying to imply also that Dave Chappelle's character, Clayton Bigsby, is based on my brother as well. No,
I think like he was definitely inspired to create Clayton Bigsby if he had met Talib Kweli.
That's a very Nazi thing to say
on the show. I don't think that's
you should be ashamed of yourself.
I don't.
Really
what about the anti-Semitic remarks of Talib Kweli's mother?
Anti-Semitic.
Like she's known like to associate with known anti-Semites.
I think that's just another thing that's controlled by the machine of Nazism. Is people speaking for others wrongly, that are Nazis, white supremacists, that that's it's all hearsay.
About Kweli,
what my brother says is concrete truth. I mean,
but what about his own anti-Semitic statements against Israel?
He can't be. He's an original. He's an original Semite.
He's an original Semite. I think he's one of the biggest proponents of bigotry, cyberbullying, and hatred on the internet.
And I think you really need to get checked and get some help.
He has the how-to book of how not to interact with people on the internet. I think you can.
I think you're very lonely. I think you're very lonely and need to go get some help and get checked in. I need to check your temperature maybe sometime. I wish the best for you, but now and then when you're talking about attacking my brother on stage, I don't know if you're gonna come attack me. I mean,
I do not want to attack you. I think like we can get together and have.
I think you find this comical or something. Like this is funny or something.
I mean, I think it's hilarious the fact that
Uh,
like your brother can't
oh,
separate
oh, Lauren
fact from
hilarious or
fiction.
yeah.
I do. I think Lauren hilarious.
Man,
That's hilarious. Whichever hilarious you want to get. I think he's hilarious. Are you planning to go out to any more dates of the New York State of Mind tour?
well, of course, when I'm invited and stuff. But see, it's Nazis like you that make me a little reluctant to leave, and go out in public and stuff. When I know there's people like yourself and other Nazis and white sympathizers and man, fascists, that want to, wish the worst for my brother and myself and our whole entourage, if you will.
Okay, let's play a game. Nazi or not a Nazi. I name a
Okay.
person, you
Yeah,
tell me if they're
absolutely.
a Nazi. Okay, Candace Owens,
Candace Owens, definitely not a Nazi.
not a Nazi. Okay,
No,
Ben Shapiro.
nope. You know, I don't know. I haven't heard enough stuff about him. And I don't have anything to copy and paste right now to send, for you to read in response to that.
Tucker Carlson.
Um, yeah, I need to get a copy and paste for that as well. Give me a moment, like after the interview, I'll send you a couple paragraphs. And then also I'll bring up again about your talking about peeing on somebody's grave and stuff like that. When the name of the group that he came from is Helter Skelter. I mean,
Right. I mean, I think it's kind of difficult, to criticize people who are deceased, and a lot of people and stuff,
yeah.
everything can feel a certain way. But
Well, I think you should apologize. I mean, you should be ashamed of yourself, and you know.
why would
But
I
if you
apologize?
apologize, of course, I'm not going to forgive you. My brother won't forgive you because you're a Nazi, and you can't change that. I mean, I can't help that. Um, we don't have a program for not Nazi rehabilitation or something like that. But
Maybe you should start one, I think and stuff. Maybe that would be helpful to people
so you're telling me what to do again?
to
See, therefore,
indoctrination.
that's very fascist, very Nazi to tell me what to do. Like you're telling me that I should open my own. Are you telling my brother he needs to open one too?
Have you ever looked into the possibility that you and Talib Kweli could suffer from defiant disorder? You know,
Um,
because it
I'm
seems
not
like
sure what that. I would
anything
have
I
to
suggest you
probably
being
look that up.
oppositionally defiant towards. It's just like an observation. If I say maybe you should open up. Oh, you're telling me what to do. You know.
Yeah, that sounds like what you're trying to do is telling me what to do and telling my brother what to do and how he should run his page and how he should interact with fans. That that's just what Nazis do. So,
That's is there anybody that can criticize your brother that
absolutely
is a
not. No,
Nazi?
no, no,
No,
no.
no,
Only, only, no. Only the Green family can talk about the Green family.
no.
That's
Okay.
yep.
Definitely, man. You know, your other brother, Jamal Green, he's a
Yeah.
lawyer. He's worked
Mhm.
with Kamala Harris and a bunch of
Oh yeah.
different people in the politics. In fact, he clerked for a conservative judge at one point.
Yeah.
That's a group that Talib Kweli regularly labels as Nazis. It just seems to be like that he has these selective outrage for people and stuff who
Selective outrage. That sounds like a very Nazi thing to say right there. You you know
but what's selective outrage about it? Because he has a history of taking help from people who have ties to the Republican Party, but he doesn't label any of those people Nazis.
it's
He
it's
just say
just pretty much what we say goes, and everything else is Nazi. That's the only way I can defend and and actually it's very disrespectful that you're taking shots at my brother when he's not here to defend himself. So that therefore, I have to have his back at all costs. But I still don't speak for him as well because again, I'm not a Nazi like yourself, where you just try and control the whole narrative.
There's been a lot of talk about his daughter, Diane Eshi Green. She has music career. Some
Mhm.
people and stuff, everything have came on the show
Yeah. Are
previously
you
with
talking about trying to rape my? You trying to talk about raping my niece?
no, I was talking
Uh,
about
So not
music.
only you're gonna try and attack my brother, on stage, like you said, you're gonna attack him at the Blue Note. You said that, and now you're talking about trying to rape my niece.
I don't I don't want to rape her. I'm not even saying
Uh,
anything sexual about it. Like,
that's pretty much what you were saying. I
we
think
were
you. I
talking
think,
about her music, but like I mean, I understand it's a sensitive topic.
man. So not only are you gonna just, you're gonna attack my brother on stage, and sounds like you were pretty much like subliminally threatening to, attack me, and now you want to rape nieces. You know, are you wanting to rape my, you wanting to rape my son? I mean, that's
He's also like, making hip hop music as well. Like,
eh,
like how's his career coming along, as an MC? Do you feel like, it eclipse you and Talib's career at one point?
well. I think my brother's doing, quite well for himself and everything. I, he inspires me daily to become the next, next biggest thing, you know, since many other sidemen, like Batman and Robin. Robin was phenomenal. You know,
Yeah, his son's name is Amali Fellagreen. Do you have a
oh,
favorite? Do you have a favorite song of his?
that I pretty much let him do his own thing. I haven't really listened, much, had any like songs sent to me, but I know he's doing his thing.
Um, you know, what's next for you, Tellafib Kwelie?
For me, I'm planning on going on a big tour that's coming up. I can't really give too much about it, but it's for hype men across the globe. Um, for all the greatest, might have made it. Like if you're familiar, but of course you're a Nazi, so if you're familiar with the old group Wham, nobody knows whatever happened to the other guy from Wham. You know, there's George Michael, rest his soul, but the other guy from Wham, um, people who what was it? There was two guys from Nirvana that went on, but there's that third guy nobody knows about. I'm striving to be kind of like that. The guy nobody knows. It's like, yeah, everybody knows most def, not my brother sometimes. So
Yeah, like I think I saw like, a video and you were saying like you hope he doesn't call him Bay, when they're just together. I
yeah,
thought,
yeah. I mean, this that's a little suspect. And then it would be a way for the Nazis to come at him like that. Yeah, because Bay, you know, it's a little bit suspect. We know, I understand what Bay stands for, in the real name, but as far as you know, Bay as my Bay, because everybody knows, Beyonce, referred to as Bay. That's universally, been known. Yeah.
why
And
does
then, you switch the letters around,
why
Nazis in there.
why does your brother though like continue to attack people on social media? He was kicked off of Twitter for harassing a black woman named Maya Moody. Like it
Well,
seems like
because she was a Nazi, clearly she was a Nazi. And,
she was a black woman,
yeah.
so how could she be a
uh,
Nazi?
Well, I mean, you ever heard that term, wolf in sheep's clothing? That it could have been, I don't know. Are we sure she's 100%, you know, she was 100% a black woman? Because it sounds like anybody who's coming at my brother is always a Nazi, and just because they're trying to control his narrative. What he
What
says,
about his
he's gonna have
feud
to
with
run his platform
No
now.
Name? No Name. She was like, she's a Chicago rapper.
Well, that's another Nazi, clearly. Yeah.
How could she be a Nazi? Like, she supports black causes. She's from Chicago. She's a black
Well,
woman.
with a name like No Name, there's two N's in there. That right there, that's Nazi, Nazi. The clearly, that's my brother's, favorite and first and foremost N word is Nazi. And and
Does he feel he has to respond to everybody, who has a public gripe against him?
why can't he? Why can't he? He's he can multitask.
I mean, it seems like he would have like, a lot
I've seen him, do a show and tweet at the same time. That's unbelievable. When don't you wish that you could
but
aspire to do the same? I
I
mean,
mean that I think that's leading me to believe
don't you
that
wish you could retire
he is
and you
he's
could
an
do whatever you
AI
want?
bot. or like, a personal handler, like an assistant, like,
Oh,
doing these tweets.
oh,
How
impossible.
hard is it?
That sounds like a Nazi thing to do. That
How
sounds
hard
almost
is
like
the
you're trying to
script? How
imply a
hard is the
conspiracy
script?
theory about me.
You're a Nazi, you're a Nazi, you're a Nazi. If anybody who like, is
Yeah,
saying anything
go on.
disagreeable with me,
And point
you're a
and go
Nazi.
and point at yourself. You're a Nazi too. It's-
So is Frank Meenick a Nazi? You
No,
know who that is?
uh, not familiar, but probably not a Nazi from the way
He's the
that you're
person
phrasing the words. Yeah, probably not.
he's the person who the movie American History X is based off of.
Oh, yeah, no, that's probably a Nazi.
Because like, but he says he left like Nazism. He like, advocates.
Yeah, see, there's no helping that. Just like yourself, I can't help that. And I'm not gonna, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna, have to refuse your trying to tell me to.
Have you ever seen the movie American History X? Did you
I
see
have,
have you
I have,
seen the
I have,
ending of it?
and I feel like you almost want to you want to do like kind of a role, and like pretty much you want to put my brother out there on the curb. I think that's what you're trying to imply. And I
No,
don't.
I don't want to curb check your brother, like,
Uh, that's what
but
it
I
sounds like when you said you were gonna come to the Blue Note and you were gonna attack him. So,
well, I I'm speaking specifically about like, the movie American History X,
oh yeah,
and
oh
like,
yeah,
the end
oh
of
yeah,
the movie,
we can stay on topic, but
at the end of the movie, was the main character still a Nazi? Because like,
oh
did
yeah, hmm? Yeah, because he's still a Nazi, yeah. By all means, just like it never changes, A tiger never changes its stripes, you know, or as it will. See,
definitely.
see, just that's the green way. We know how to silence a Nazi
Who are
and not
some
give
of your
safe
inspirations?
spaces, like including on your own show.
We know
You
your
don't have a
brother.
safe space here now.
We know your brother is like obviously like, probably one of your biggest inspirations in hip hop. Is there anybody else you look up to?
Um, Let me see. Colin Powell.
Colin Powell. I mean, I think he's an amazing individual from New York. And like,
Yeah.
what is it specifically about Colin Powell that you respect?
Mm, I don't know, nothing in particular. Just he's a hero. You know.
Man, that's really cool. Like, like I think like, that's really
O.J. Simpson. That's another.
OJ Simpson. I think he gets a lot of criticism for like,
Yeah.
not wanting to be black. Like, a lot of people's, I'm not black, I'm OJ. That was like, his
Oh
famous.
yeah,
He didn't identify as you consider him a hero.
yeah. I mean, because I think you could almost say the same thing, but like I'm not Nazi. I'm Ryan Glover.
Man, I
Like,
love OJ Simpson. I think like,
yeah.
he's won at every stage of his life. He went to USC, won the Heisman, like, he played in the NFL, like, after the NFL started doing all these commercials and movies, and like, they sued him, obviously, like, when he allegedly murdered Nicole Brown Simpson, even though he was acquitted. Like, I feel like,
Um,
and stuff that kind of like, points to the racism in America. Like,
but
even
but
though
did he not?
he's acquitted of the
Did he not play some good football? Well, let's not take away from that.
right.
I mean, did he not? Was he not? Was he not the juice? Was he not an hilarious comedian in Naked Gun in I believe two of the episodes, if you will?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, because you're a Nazi if you don't agree with me on that. I mean,
Oh no, I can agree with you, man. Like, I'm a huge fan of OJ Simpson. I think
yeah.
like, that he is like, an incredible person for like all that he's been through. Like, we don't know like necessarily like, the part that he played in the alleged killing of Nicole Brown Simpson, but like, it's a possibility. I think like,
Yeah,
sometimes
but I think that's just mostly Nazis that pointed that out. Nazis are trying to accuse him of that, just like yourself, because I don't know. You just keep how long are you gonna keep denying that you're Nazi and keep surfacing every time in your words? That's what I'm trying to.
I don't think I ever like, would proclaim or support anything Nazi or white supremacist. I think like, that's just like a ridiculous, you know, um, group to label or lump yourself in with, like, you know,
Well,
where there may be some
I think you need to get some books on Egypt, because you're clearly in denial.
some books on Egypt, huh? But like, you know, Egypt isn't, like, you know, considered, um they don't even want to consider that part of Africa. A lot of people say it's just a Middle Eastern country, even though it is in the
Yeah,
African
but Nazis are the ones who write these books, right?
I guess that may be the answer. Like, you know, I'm not sure, like, you
I
know.
mean, because obviously you're probably buying these books and reading them when you should read a book about Egypt, and it could show
But
you're
I
clearly
think
in
these are
denial.
more so like the views that people and stuff have in the country. Like, you know, that
I mean, that's insulting.
even people in Egypt would probably consider themselves more Middle Eastern than they would an African country. And like,
Oh,
you know, I think it's kind of strange, like, you know, in movies and stuff though, like, you know, where they'll have, like, you know, someone who, you know, I think there's a lot of arguments where people would say, like, you know, Africa wasn't the pyramid wasn't built by Africans, that the pyramid
oh
wasn't.
yeah, because that's a Nazi thing to say, because they want to take away from it, because they don't believe, you know, that with our own bare hands we can build something, a structure so ingenious and stuff that lines up with the stars, the planets, everything like that. No, the Nazis want to say that it's aliens and stuff that do it, when it was by the original man.
Most definitely, like, you know, then there was, like, you know, like, you know, Nas says on Weekend, I think he says, like, there were places in Africa called Kush where every
Cool.
race came to get books, you know. So like,
Yeah,
I think, like, you know, we definitely have, like, you know, the historical evidence to back up that we had, like, you know, the first civilizations were black people.
absolutely, absolutely. That we can agree upon, but then I almost feel like you're trying to convert me into Nazism, so I'm being careful with my words here, because
I'm not trying to convert you to
I hear it's
Nazism.
contagious. I hear it's contagious. You should be very careful. Like you should, like, almost quarantine, if you will.
Quarantine.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
Nazism is very contagious, and I mean, I've seen how your brand is, like, expanded on the internet ever since you've interacted with my brother and stuff like that. So yeah, I
yeah, I've
think
gone
it's
on
pretty.
a whole 8 followers. Like, you know, I'm really
Oh,
psyched about it. You know,
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
you
All
know,
Nazis too. All Nazis on you. I can almost guarantee, right? Are they not Nazis?
I
I
think
mean,
most of them were bots, you know, but like, you know, I'm still grateful for
that's a
the
very Nazi thing to say too.
engagement.
Yeah.
I
I
was
mean, I
like,
mean, you doubt my brother's multi ability to be doing a show and tweeting at the same time. I mean, you can watch that Afion Crockett thing, on my bro's channel, and he's he's on Instagram too, calling you a Nazi while he's interviewing him. I mean, he can do that. I've seen him record in a recording session, and you know, he's incredible.
yeah, like, how does he find the time to do all this? Like, he's written memoirs before, you know,
He's
like,
just not a
it's a
Nazi.
people's
If
party.
you would only know if you weren't a Nazi.
So only Nazis can produce great work, you
Oh,
know.
how you're calling my brother a Nazi? See, you want to attack him? Which one is it? Are you trying to attack him? Are you trying to rape his daughter as well? And, you know,
I don't want to rape anyone, you know. I
like,
only, like,
you
you
know,
know, have consensual
trying to
sex with
trying to
women.
rape my niece.
So
I
like,
mean,
you know,
I take
tell
very,
her to call me, you know, and, like, you know, and stuff, we can work something out.
call you, what, so you can try and influence him to become a Nazi? Is that what you're trying to do? Because that's very Nazi thing to do. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like, bro. But
I
nice
hope.
backpedal. Nice backpedal.
No, man, I'm all about black
I mean,
love. Like, you know, I think, like, you know, black love is one of the most beautiful things that can happen. You know, I think, like, you know,
absolutely. I mean, but I know you're lying between your teeth right there, because I mean, Nazis, you know you're trying to win me over by saying something that's right, and then but that's a nice sweet backpedal.
no, like, you know, does your brother have any Nazi memorabilia? He looks like a person and stuff that collects Nazi memorabilia.
Um, we don't really go into that. I mean, he's got this one back room in his house. Um, I don't know. He says that it might be the heads of Nazis and stuff. he opened the door one time real quick. I like took a glance and everything. You know, this is where I keep all my dead Nazi memorabilia and stuff. And you know, I got like about 10 heads. However, it didn't look like there were any like white heads in there either. So I don't know.
Are you worried about like, you know, self-snitching, like, you know, on your brother, like you
Yeah.
might have gave me some information that you shouldn't have
Oh,
in this interview, and like, you know,
so
the
you're really
police are
you're
gonna
another
come
Vlad
knocking.
TV. You're another Vlad TV or Fed TV then.
I'm just posting the interview, like, you know, you said what you were going to say, and like, you know, that if you go to jail, that's not my fault, or your brother
That,
goes to
that,
jail. Hey,
that
like,
sounds like a very Nazi thing to say. That's like the thing that Nazis do. You're trying to see that. Not only that, you're trying to turn.
are you
You know,
calling DJ Vlad a Nazi? Because you know he, like, you know, is posting
I
interviews
mean,
before
my
going to
brother's
jail.
appeared on there, but he's been very cautious on it. I mean, no, he doesn't interact with Nazis. He just wanted to go head to head, but then he realized also, you know, it's like it's contagious. You know, like this interview, I can't believe I allowed to, you know, correspond with you because you know, I feel I'm gonna have to take a very good long shower after this interview, and
I
watch the Nazi
could,
view. Yeah.
I could understand that. Like, you know, does your brother, like, you know, regularly, like, you know, tour Germany? You know, does he?
Oh
Because
no,
you know,
no,
there's a
they
bunch
don't
of
let him in
Nazi
there because
fans.
he's not Nazi enough. He's not
Why
Nazi
are
enough.
all the people in the comments who, like, you know, critique me and, like, you know, they're white, and like, you know, they
Uh,
basically make me
oh,
feel like, you know, I'm being attacked for being a black person and standing up for my
how,
beliefs
how
just
do you
because
know they're not
I has to put
doing
another
digital
black
white
man.
face? How do you know they're not doing digital white face? You know, these could be like
That's a why would anyone do that? Why would
I
anyone
I
go
don't
to
know.
the trouble
I
of, like,
mean,
you know, pretending to be like a different race on the
I
internet? Makes no
I
sense.
have no idea. I mean, you know, as myself, Tellafib Kweli, I have no answer for that. I mean,
Tellafib
and,
Kwelie, we have about a minute 50 seconds left. Can you tell me a little bit, you know, anybody you want to shout out, you know, where can people follow you on social media?
first of all, I want to send a big shout out to my brother, you know, Mr. Green, Talib Kweli. Um, want to send a shout out to Mos Def, Yassine Bey, um, and also, of course, Afion Crockett, very major inspiration, I would say. Um, man, the Hood Smoker podcast, yourself, Ryan Glover, I mean Ryan Nazi Lover, I'm sorry. Um, and that's about it. Um, but otherwise, I'm going to take a very long shower, and I think you should get some help because you sound like a very lonely man. Um, that clearly is not in his right state of mind, you know, and you should get that Nazism checked out.
You think that your brother looks like he's mentally stable? Like, you're attacking
Oh,
like
he's
people who don't really have like huge
see that
followers,
right there is a very Nazi thing to say
and he
because you're
has
already
over a
trying to.
million followers. You know, like
That's
I
clearly
don't
what you're
have any
trying to do. Is
followers. I'm
you're
just
sweeping them in the corner.
a regular blogger, YouTuber. I have interviewed a number of public figures such as Kenny Rogers, who, you know, sold 100 million records. You know, but your brother loves
I
to
mean,
attack people
uh, uh,
who
yeah,
disagree with him and label them
no,
not.
no, he loves to attack Nazis. He loves to attack Nazis. You know, I wouldn't say he's Howard Hughes like he's got a whole. Well, I mean, I think I saw a couple like bottles of pee like in the room, but I mean, but that's not for me to say. He's to speak for himself
But yeah,
because
like, I mean,
I'm
that
not a
makes
Nazi
sense
like
though,
that.
like, you know, peeing in bottles, because didn't Michael Jackson do that? So he was able to get things done quicker, like, you know, as the
But
member of the
oh,
Jackson
exactly.
5
I mean, because you know,
understood it.